So I thought it was. I saw him in the church. I think I said it by. Oh, really? Well, no, if you get the message. I got it. Oh, okay. Oh, there it is there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just going to give it 2 more minutes and then we're done. It's Boise, so after appointed hours.
We need to do it. Yeah, we're gonna get it. Yeah, it's done. One of these days. I have to share the screen here for you to play that.
Tonight. All right, so tonight we're about to open this meeting in the fourth section. Let our faithful officers assume their respective stations, and the faithful inner sentinel and outer sentinel take their posts. The faithful pilot will now advise me and make known if all present are in possession of proper membership, and he's not here. So I'm going to say yes to that. We do have 4 officers that are excused for tonight. So, okay. Faithful, that is ordered. I'm reading what he would say. Faithful navigator. Your order has been obeyed. I report none but faithful knights present, and all are possessed of a current membership card. And maybe one day we'll get rid of that ritual and so on and so forth. Let the comptroller call the roll of our faithful officers. So this one is just officers. And with that, again, with absences, I'm here, the navigator's here, captain here. Paul Edwards had an emergency, so if he's not here, he's excused. Scribe, the wax here. Innocent, helps here. Like, did I see him? No. Okay, he's over there. First year trustee, Wade Clausen, is here. Thank you. Third year trustee, John Hopkins here. Faithful comptroller is excused, he's still overseas, Scotland. Faithful admiral is here. Chuck, move on. Faithful pilot had surgery on his hand today and is not here and probably will not be doing color code duties this weekend. Father Vitalis is excused. And James Charlotte is here, our other sentinel. Our 2-year trustee, some may have been noticed it on the minutes. Our Sir Knight Tom Coops transferred to Sacred Heart because of driving, particularly driving at night. And so, and he has some other medical conditions which he has some authorized me to tell you what's going on. And then cover corps commander, and I am still. Okay. So with that, faithful pilot, what is the principle of the 4th degree?
Patriotism.
Okay, thank you. Faithful, okay. What is our duty to our country?
To respect and obey all lawful authority, to uphold and maintain those whose duty it is to administer the law, to defend and preserve unspotted and unstained the flag of our country and the principles for which it stands.
Faithful admiral, what other duties have we as faithful knights of our honored order?
To maintain unity, to practice the virtues of charity and brotherly love, to exemplify in all relations with our fellow man the sublime teachings of Holy Mother Church.
Thank you. And so it is tonight, fidelity to Christ begets loyalty to our country, and faithful practice of our holy religion begets the good citizen and the patriot. Tonight, stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. The knights kneel or remain standing. Before entering upon our deliberations, let us acknowledge our dependence upon Almighty God and call upon our faithful fire, which in this case, our captain, to invoke his blessing by repeating out loud the Lord's Prayer.
In the
Father,
Father,
and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Be seated. I declare this assembly regularly open for transaction of business. And with that said, report of our fire is not here. What I just wanted to let you know is that for this segment, I want to emphasize, as a previous past faithful navigator had done, is the importance of adoration and taking that 1 hour to spend with Christ. The reason why I say that is that you never know who among us could use prayers. You never know who among us have sacrificed a lot to support the precepts of being a good Catholic man. So months ago, I talked about Lieutenant Colonel Army David Tish. We call him Padre. I have his flyer over there. A driver cut him off and on 84, and they're going about 75, 80. He slammed on his brakes, and the guy behind him then catch it real quick and end up causing major injuries. After 9 months struggle, he passed away. The importance of this, so why is Faithful Navigator telling me this? Because this man, who I knew and respected, knew as Padre, when he was a captain, he transferred to the Army Guard. And he ended up as being a reservist going over to the Middle East. And coming back, he earned a Bronze Star. It was active action where he was at. You know, they were shooting, with people dying. But as an Army chaplain, he was there for his men and for his people that were there. So he came back, and just know that life went on for a couple of years, and then he got orders again to go to the Middle East. And just imagine, you have a personal experience, you're over there, some of the people you know, you care about, have died, and he's going back into combat. So he went because he was following his duty to Christ and our Heavenly Father. He survived that and came back with another Bronze Star. And both times, you just don't get the Bronze Star because you happen to be there. So he saw action, and as a faithful chaplain preacher, he did what was needed. And so for spiritual, didn't know that about him. And I'm just sad that I learned after his passing what a great man and how faithful he was to Christ our Lord. Okay. So next is reading of Navigator's report. Oh, let me see. Oh, sorry. Yes, reading of last month's minutes, 6 February. That's
Working Faithful Navigator, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and accept it as written and published.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, reading of bills and communication. I have a letter from the VA, and it says it's from Tammy Lanning, program manager at the VA. She's in the rehab section. Dear Knights of Columbus, on behalf of Boise VA, patients and staff, we would like to extend our appreciation to you for your donation of bingo prizes and facilitating the activity. It is through the efforts of community partners like you, that's us, that allow us to continue quality of care and services that we seek to provide our deserving veterans. We look forward to the opportunity to work with you again for future events. Thank you for your support, continued support. Sincerely, Tim and Lanny. They are so appreciative, so that's a wonderful letter. And we'll get a bingo report in a second. Okay. Now, the navigator. I want to say thank you to our two IT Sir Knights over here, Dave and Steve. They had to get here early, they have to set up, they have to troubleshoot. The gremlin appears from nowhere, they get it fixed, and then his cousin shows up from nowhere and they gotta fix it. And I just want to recognize them and thank them for what they do for us every meeting. And so night on Tadco can be here with us because of them. Thank you for being with us. Main priority for us, and we're going to focus, is the 6th May exemplification ceremony and dinner. I mean, that is so important to me. I hope to you, because we're aging and we need to build our 4th degree. And likewise, I mean, we're biased, the color corps in particular. Based on our last two guests that were here last month, school essay and flag ceremonies should be promoted. Well, I didn't want to create conflict, so I accepted their recommendation. But that's the avenue that we tried for as far as the essay and budgeted for. And as far as flag ceremonies, we do that, and that is twice a year, where the flags don't last a whole year. So every 6 months, we have to change the flags, both here at Holy Apostles and at St. Ignatius. The next thing was our district master says we need to provide reports to him about activities, but I forward our minutes to him, and in the minutes are our activities. But just as a quick reminder, we have part of the VA home, VA hospital, Patriot Guard, mostly that's with funerals, national recognition during Memorial and Veterans Day, to include Christmas, and that's when Wreaths Across America comes in. Again, if you want to know what is important to us, what we support, you only have to look at our budget. That's where we put our money where our mouth is, and what we're going to do and what we're going to support. Color Corps, then we have the Treasure Valley Knights of Columbus Color Corps. It's a really good unity, and so we're supporting that growth. But as far as Color Corps, we know what we do. We do Treasure Valley support, funerals, masses, ICYC, men's conference, and celebrations, both in the local area and downtown. Color Corps is aging out, as I said, and so unfortunately what's happening, some of our brothers are having senior moments, but we recognize that, we love them, we keep them coming, but we make sure their mirror image has a good control of them. So, and what that means is sometimes we'll have an inexperienced person and then an experienced person, and that experienced person say, do what I do. And I never, ever turn anyone away. If they want to come participate, God bless them. We'll continue to pursue interesting and pertinent history segments for our meetings. I say that would be 5 minutes. Sometimes it might slip to 10, but no more. About the history that I think that we select would be very interesting to you. And tonight in particular is important to me. And I have a display table over there. Again, I only have 40 minutes to do so, so I got to talk fast and just keep pertinent. I just want you to know, not complaining, just fact, is that it takes at least about 6 to 8 hours to prepare for the 40 minutes that I stand for you every month. And I do it with lots of love, and it's no big deal. I'm happy and privileged to be your a faithful navigator. I get to go. Okay. Next is FBO for veterans. It's going to be April 23rd to 22nd to the 23rd of April. We're going to try to coordinate a flag sale, and more about that later. American flag sales, we're going to try to have that so that our parishioners, if they so desire to purchase them as fundraising for us, is that they can have it for Memorial Day and then later on for Flag Day and then Veterans Day. So with that, report of the comptroller and a faithful person is not here, called in, had an urgent errand to run. So I'm going to fill that role. So as of right now, we have $6,518.99. There were no transactions during the month of February, so that amount still continues to be the same. And it was supposed to be reported at the comptroller. So tonight, Robert Lees is not here. I'm just assuming that our account is still at 125 personnel. I do not know, looking at the funds that came in, that we had, if I'm not mistaken, about 24 that have not paid dues yet. So I don't know that if another notice went out to see if they need help and paying their annual dues. So next report is from the Color Corps commander, Brother James Surak. That is the family that goes to St. Mary's, but because of our church and how we handle funerals, and because of Color Corps, they decided to have their funeral mass here. The thing as complimentary that I would feel as far as our church, you all, Color Corps, is that improved communication is needed. And what happens is the family and the other churches do not realize we have a Treasure Valley next to Columbus, Color Corps. Wherever we are needed, we will go. And what's kind of sad is that just the month before, Color Corps was at St. Mary's doing the funeral mass. And so the gentleman from St. Mary's supporting us for the funeral felt kind of bad that the mass wasn't there. So I just, again, we got to get the word out that Color Corps here at Sacred Heart, St. Mary's, at St. Mark's and Napa, where we are all one. Wherever the need is, we all go there. So there's no difference and no problem with we only do funeral masses at one church and not another. Let's see. Church of District. Last time you knew that I got appointed as district marshal, and so I will perform those duties. And again, I gladly accepted that because the 6th of May is that important to me. when we do the extra duty, make sure we can have our ceremony. New service baldrics, I don't know, I haven't heard anything about them. I don't know if our past, district, master has ordered them or not, but I think we had to 12 needed to order them, so hopefully, you'll be able to see them, soon. Color Corps support request. This is a busy weekend for us. On March 11th, all nights mass. And we're going to use, we're going to need Jan because I need Joe Wax to be in Color Corps. So I'm glad we got the background. For Color Corps, we'll show up at 4 p.m. and traditionally, what we'll do besides going over a general mass procession, we spend 30 minutes prior to the mass greeting people in. So the all nights mass, Color Corps will be the greeters performing that duty. The next day, it's the 12th, and it's ICYC, and the celebrant is Bishop Peter. And so that'll be at the Ford Center. And so Color Corps showtime will be 10 a.m. and the mass is at 11. And oh my goodness, I want to say it's at least 2,000 kids. And they get so excited about that mass. And at the end of the mass, as we process that, they're cheering, and then they get to go home. The buses. So I'm sure it's for both reasons. Anyway, annual change of colors, refresher training will be in April. So for Color Corps, I'll be getting on emails with you to find out what Saturday is best. And then what we will do is prior to Memorial Day, we got to change both our flags. Because of the trees and the direction of the wind, the blows dirt, they're looking pretty shabby. And to have shabby flags flying is disrespectful to the flag. Okay, report of committees, admissions. So tonight, where are you ready, Henson? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's see, as you mentioned, May 6th. May 6th is our exemplification. And we have right now 5 solid candidates and a possible 6th one. So we still have about 60 days before the event. So we're hoping to get at least another 6. The current 6 are Deacon Bill Beaker, Stephen Sherrard, who is here this evening. Oh, excuse me. David Brooks, Michael Keck, and Brother Ed Shaw, who is here this evening too. So anyway, and like I say, we're hoping to get more as time gets closer. You know how people put things off.
Sure.
Until the last stage. So I'm hoping that's the case with what's going on here. I'll send out reminder emails to all the candidates, and there was an excess of 40 rather new knights who have not made their 4th degree yet. So that's who that I'm going out soon.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right.
And on the table there, I have the draft of the notice for the 6th, and it has the itinerary requirements and itinerary on there. And then I have a handout that I did some years ago, why the 4th degree, and complement that as well. And then next is welfare committee, and so I don't see Joe James not here. I noticed that she's been doing a good job staying on top of people who need the prayers, and thank you very much about you're sending those emails out for support. And let's see. Joe James' wife is had made a remarkable recovery after Father Dallas visited her. Gave her communion, said prayers, gave her communion, and her atrial flutter, hypertension just turn that corner to where she is doing well. So prayer does help. And then, as I said, our son tonight, Keith Fine had surgery on his hand, and I haven't heard anything yet. So no surgery is minor. Me, but when it's a scalpel going to you, it's a major surgery. So I'll find out how he's doing, but we wish the best for him. So VA hospital and home.
Brothers, in our last bingo held February 24th, it was held by the Napa Assembly. There were two Napa guys there and myself, and that was it. And one of the guys doesn't get around much, so I was hopping. On March 25th is our turn to supply money for handing out to the veterans. And something else has come up, and I'll mention that in a second. But today I went down with Mike Shaw, who's down briefly, Cottonwood, and we went over to see Tammy Lanning, and she's the volunteer services officer. And there was a number of topics that came up. One of them was masks. And when you go in there, if you've been there before, everybody has to wear a mask. The patients don't have to. So she was telling us today that as of Thursday, they're thinking that masks will not be required at the VA. So if you're thinking about volunteering and you're holding back because you don't like to wear a mask, you're not going to have to. I'll need some help the 25th of March. So if at all possible, between 10 and 12 is when we hand out money. The other thing we talked to Tammy about was food. The issue of food came up, and we haven't been able to actually bring in food for, I don't know, there's about 3 years or something. She said that that's something else that she's gonna talk to people at the people that are in control of this, and she feels that we will be able to bring food in on the March bingo deal. One of the things that we've been trying to do forever is get the veterans, the state veterans home people over to play bingo, so we don't have just 4. We have maybe 15. We used to have like 15, 16, 17 people come over, and all of a sudden, you know, we don't have that many anymore. So this will be, she's going to work on that and see if we can get the home over. All the things that happen in VA, we have to go through the proper channels. So you just can't jump over to the state home and ask people to come over. You got to go through the proper channels. And we found out there was some feathers ruffled last month about us going over there. One of the nights from Napa. So that was straightened out. So the other thing that she was telling us is that they're in desperate need of a driver for Caldwell. There is a guy that there's a van in Caldwell, and he comes in and he works part-time Tuesday and Thursday and drives the veterans from Caldwell into Boise. But it's not enough time for work. You know, you can imagine the problem in getting an appointment with a doctor and saying that, okay, I can only come in Tuesday or Thursday between the hours of 10 and 11 because the driver has to get back. So they're desperately looking for a driver, a volunteer to drive their van. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that I'm going to need $75. I'm going to make a motion that we we cut a check for $75 so I can cover the cost of not only the money that we hand out, but also the food that we're gonna start in March. And this food can only be from, it can't be cooked at home. It can't be home cooked brownies or cookies or whatever. It has to be store-bought food. So we're a little restricted there, but, so anyway. If you're interested in being a driver for the VA, going out to Caldwell and bringing people in, see me later, and I will fill you in on some of the details. Instead of going through all the rigmarole of what is required to do this, I'd rather talk to just the people that are interested.
Thank you for your report. And regarding $75, we have it in our budget as far as the VA. And so we can support that. And then I think what would be really nice for a standard is the type of food for us to bring so that we're consistent each time. And that's only when we're leading it, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Well, the other assemblies will also bring in food. Sure. But they'll bring in whatever they want.
Yeah, yeah. I just so that we have consistency. Yes. Yes.
Did you get your volume turned up? No, pull the microphone or something.
You can't, there's plenty of chairs up there, buddy. Okay. I said, got over there.
Faithful Navigator, I got a question.
Yes,
I wanted to ask, was there a motion made? And does that need to be seconded? And do we need to vote on that for the $75 fee?
I did make a motion. It wasn't seconded.
right. And I said that I didn't think it was necessary. It's probably right. Huh?
Okay, so it is
In the budget?
in the budget?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. We have plenty of money right now.
thank you, sir.
No, thank you for your question. Point of order. All right, report of trustees tonight. All right, thank you. Unfinished business. So unusual with an agenda. There's a lot of stuff you'll see on the agenda, but I only have 40 minutes allowed. And so I could spend almost a half hour on the next agenda item is the 4th degree exemplification ceremony on 6 May. Things are being planned and really going quite well. But I wanted you all to know the dynamics of putting on a 6th degree ceremonial dinner. That is the hardest part of a ceremonial. And so again, that if we can get brother knights who, whether 4th degree, if you're not gonna bring your bride and have dinner with us, then if you would consider helping out in the kitchen. 3rd degree council, if there are volunteers there, if they can help, and that most appreciated. The biggest thing of this whole agenda item, which is 6 items, is I still have reflection of Brother Mike Wetzel and one other individual washing dishes for almost 60, if not 80 people by themselves. And I just don't want that to happen. So I've reached out to my other associates, other disciplines to help us, but it would be best if we can take care of our own house and get the volunteers we need. So that's it. The 4th degree exemplification candidates, thank you, Brother Ray, for reading the names. Again, I have 3 remaining slots that I'm willing to sponsor for those candidates that want to be 4th degree, but expense might be a problem, and I handle that on the side, and nobody needs to know. So if you know someone in the council that would like to be a fourth degree, but it's about expense, then just send that person to me privately. And I have 3 sponsorships left that I'm willing to take care of that. Save the date, that's June 16th. And I have a poster over there for Hawks, Boise Hawks baseball. Again, it's 25 for adults, 10 for children. We need a minimum of 25. And we're going to sponsor, a small group of us are going to sponsor the deacon, the priests, the deacons and their wives to join us at that ball game. It's on the 16th, it starts at 7, or you can eat from 7 to 8. And then after 8 o'clock, we can stay in the covered area. And so during the summer, that'd be ideal. From 6 to 8, the drinks with beer and wine are half price during that time period. All right, under new business, let's see. Oh, I have a flyer on the table there, just a FYI. On the 22nd of March, we have there's 2 things. On the 22nd of March, we have interviews, admission interviews to the 4th degree. So we're counting on a grand night, closes up, but we have the whole building after 5 o'clock. We're asking our candidates who want to pursue the 4th degree to come to the facility here at 6 o'clock. And we figure it's going to be about 2.5 hours. It's right during dinner time, just like now. And we're going to take care of you. We're going to feed our candidates, and we're going to feed our Sunnites that we would appreciate would help with the interview process and the exchange of information. We're looking at 3 classrooms, so it's not a problem. Nobody else is here. We got it. And it'll be a healthy meal, so they won't be missing out. There's it's just a friendly get together. We want to make sure that candidates know what they're getting into, and just sharing information about the importance of being a 4th degree. The other thing, I have a flyer over there, and Sean, you may know this. It's on the 25th of March that veterans from 1 to 3:30 get free meals. They get a box to take home. That's a meat, potatoes, a variety of things. And this is just to let you know what's happening in the community. And because of St. Vincent de Paul as one of the sponsors of that activity. It's a tremendous, tremendous event to see. Cars lined up, whether the sun's out or it's pouring down rain, and that happened last year. And these veterans drive up and they get a box of food to take home with them. And so just if you're interested, I have that flyer on the table. Okay. Report of the 3rd degree.
Dave from Navigator. All right, we got a few things on the agenda tonight. The first one would be the evangelization retreat. We'll talk about that. The cinnamon roll event for March 24th to the 26th. The all nights mass, salt and light pledge drive on March 15th through the 17th. Our day will be the 16th, Thursday. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about the October Fest. So, Dave will navigate.
Thank you very much. Just to make sure that we're going moving on. All right, our next on the good of the order. Sean, we're trying to bring the pictures up right now of the chapel there at Grace.
So let me start by saying, when I was growing up, I kind of took my faith for granted. I went to mass, but I really wasn't, I guess you would say, into my faith. It wasn't until I went in the military that I really grew in my faith, and I discovered military chapels. And, I was lonely a lot, I was away from home, and I really found the military chapel as a place of refuge. And the last several months, I've become involved with the chapel out at Gowan Field, as has Wade and Corbin. And it's because of the Knights of Columbus and this assembly that we've kind of got an initiative going to really help enhance the beauty of the chapel. Do we have pictures to bring up?
Yeah, we're working on it.
He's working on it right now.
I had your other thing up first.
Yeah,
So I mentioned at the last meeting that we've coordinated with Cindy Deft, and I think a lot of you know her. She's a local artist who does a lot of the sacred art for a lot of the local parishes. She's in the process of designing some paintings to put in the chapel. She's doing a painting of, it's a crucifix of St. John of the Cross, but she's modifying it a little bit to where it's going to be a crucifix up in the sky, like the crucifix of St. John of the Cross. But down below it is going to be an image of Gowan Field. And that's kind of what the chapel's, well, you can kind of see. So I have a picture with the white plain chapel, which is how the chapel is at Gowan Field right now. And the picture you saw a minute ago was what it's going to look like when it's painted. We haven't really decided. So there's the plain chapel. That's kind of what it looks like right now. If you go to Mass at Gowan Field right now, that's the chapel you're going to be worshiping in. And just an FYI, Mass is every other Tuesday at 1:30 in the afternoon. So if you have a military ID or if you have base access, you can go to Mass on base. First Sunday of every month is drill weekend, and Mass is the first Sunday of every month at Gowan Field. And I love Holy Apostles, but it's kind of nice to go to the smaller chapel. I went yesterday and it was me and a bunch of men and women in the Garden Reserve. I was the only one not in uniform, but it was kind of nice to be there. After Mass, I was able to thank them for their service and talk to them a little bit about our faith. I mean, they were all Catholics at different parishes around the area. But some of the pictures you see, the one that's all white is how the chapel looks right now. That's the crucifix of St. John of the Cross. And what you see on the bottom is an image of Gowan Field. So once Cindy's done with it, it's either going to look like that, or there's another image that might have popped up where there's stars in the background. We haven't quite decided if we're going to go with the plain sky or the one with the stars. I like the one with the stars, but we're hoping this project is done maybe sometime in May or June. And then when that happens, I'll let everyone know. But it really wouldn't happen without the leadership of our assembly. And because this is going on, it's attracted a lot more people going to Mass at Gowan Field. So I just kind of wanted to share this with you all so you would know, part of the fourth degree is patriotism. I mean, that's what our focus is. So in addition to serving veterans at the VA, I think it's nice to be able to serve members of the Garden Reserve because I was active duty. I didn't realize when I was younger all the sacrifices that members of the Garden Reserve make, but they leave their families all the time. They have regular careers, yet they still put them on hold to serve our country. So it's kind of nice to be able to worship with them, and it's nice that we have the opportunity to enhance their place of worship. So anyway, thank you for giving me an option.
So can we go to bits about it? It's the video, okay. Next one is the history. And this is about a young United States Air Force Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Airman Pitzenbarger. His recognition for his Medal of Honor didn't come until almost 20 years after the fact. A lot of people worked to Congress to get that medal awarded him. And what you're about to see in this video is an airman who had extraordinary courage and commitment to duty. There, and as I said, when I was talking about Lieutenant Colonel Tish, was that there are those who walk among us, unassuming, who personal profiles of courage, who have personal profiles of courage. And I think you'll enjoy this video.
Here we go. Scroll down. One moment, please.
So while he's doing that, I want to go around the room. Is there anything else that needs to be brought to this assembly for the good of the order?
I think we may have. I think there's another candidate to take part in the exemplification, May 6th, and he's at the St. Michael the Archangel. He's been wanting to go through his 4th degree for about a year, and I will, Ray, I'll get you his name and his form 4. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Hey, Peter, I heard from the Nampa Assembly, they have, I believe they have 5 or 6 candidates as well that wish to participate in our ceremonial. I don't know if that faithful navigator, John Forrest, has reached out to you, or if any of the members of their assembly have reached out to you. Excuse me. I did give them your contact information, so hopefully they'll contact you. They have some questions about costs and that sort of thing. So,
Sure. And I completed the draft for the identification for district master.
okay.
But I also ran several copies of that draft for our people here,
Okay.
so that they would have that too.
And then I also have one from my council that hopes to join the 4th degree as well. He's from my council, which is the Blessed Prashadi Council, but because we don't have any assembly affiliation, I directed him over here to join your assembly, or our assembly, I should say.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Good.
We don't know, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll try.
All right.
We should.
But not all of us in the heroes. This was Airman First Class William H. Bitzenbarger. You've probably heard of him because of the way he died. You should remember him because of the way he lived. April 11, 1966. Battle of South Carolina. Heavy casualties. It's his day off. Naturally. So Pitts was there to treat casualties, care for the wounded, and get them up into the helicopter and back to base as quickly and as safely as possible. He put the better part of a dozen wounded aboard the Huskies and then waved off his ride. The helicopter was heavy with the dead. To this day, the pilot doesn't know if he could have made it out to the pits. Lives are made up of moments and choices. Pitts was a PJ who completed over 300 rescue missions in Vietnam. He had nothing to prove. He knew exactly what he was looking at. This was a slaughter. In that moment, he chose to stay. As the fighting went on through the night, he saved the wounded and gathered guns and ammo from the dead. He snuck outside the perimeter to bring back a man that had been hit. He covered up one wounded soldier with 2 dead bodies and told him to stay down. That soldier watched Pitts take his first bullet. It's hard to say how many members of Charlie Company lives that night. Pitts and Margaret. He was shot 3 times and never stopped. He cared for the wounded, shot back at the muzzle flashes, and when he could, he looked into the eyes of a man who knew they would die. It just wanted to know the opinions so they wouldn't go alone. The next morning, April 12th, 1966, when the battle was over, most of Charlie Company had been annihilated. During the fight, the Vietcong would sneak into the perimeter and kill the wounded. Pitts lay among the casualties. There was a bullet hole in his forehead and a gas mask here. The pararescue member was an angel with the hands of the William H. Butzenwater was no angel. He was a ladies' man. He was a clown. He was known to be reckless and foolhardy in his youth. He was a stock boy from a small town who told his parents on New Year's Eve that he was jumping a train that night to report for duty in the Air Force. He was Pitts. He was an airman, but he was a little bit of We don't worry about it. This is not a contest. We're not asking you to die for your country. In fact, that's the last thing Pitts would want. Simply ask yourself, why did he stay? This was not a man who died in life. This was a man who lived in life. I read the core values. We live in life, showing them. Remember William H. Butzenwater. Remember these things he did. That nobody's made them. Aim high, Airman.
So during my training, that's who I went up to. And we call them the guardian angels, but PJs for short. But one thing that being a pararescueman is you're not afraid of pain. Motrin is vitamin M. And most importantly, because you can get hurt in training, you're not afraid to die. Because country and God is the most important thing too. Okay. So if there's no further business to come before the assembly, if there be none, we shall proceed to close the meeting. So faithful pilot, what are the emblems of the degree?
Flag of our country. We love it and shall ever defend it.
Yes, tonight, these glorious symbols typify patriotism, liberty, and faith. The heaven-sent attributes of our Christian citizenship. Faithful pilot, what say you for the flag? I don't know. Faithful admiral, what do we say for the sword?
Let us keep it bright for liberty's sake.
Faithful captain, what do you say for the cross?
This is the cross of Christ. the exponent of Christian ideals, the conqueror of death, the giver of life. Supreme reverence for this sacred symbol will crown our country queen in the sisterhood of nations. It is the bulwark of national honor, the inspiration of patriotism, the guardian of personal worth, for it was crimsoned with the blood of self-sacrifice.
Sir Knights, undying allegiance to the cross of Christ and to Christ victor upon earth. Please stand or kneel. And I'll read the prayer. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And lead us not into temptation. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Glory be to the Father, the Son. Father, beginning, Tonight, let us now declare this assembly duly closed until our next appointed meeting, which will be March 27th, same time, same place. Again, because of Holy Week, we couldn't have the first Monday in April, so 27th of March, and I'll send out 2 reminders out there for you to be able to. With that, thank you for your attendance today. God bless.